Hello, everyone, and thanks for giving us a listen. If you'd like to show our support, please check out our Patreon and Linktree under Interactive Distractions for access to additional Day 1 content, as well as to be part of our awesome community. Thanks again, and we hope you continue to be distracted.
I'm a bad boy, yeah, don't forget it. No rest, no sleep, because we're bringing it on.
Hello and welcome to the Interactive Distraction Podcast. My name is Travis Baum, filling in for the absent Christopher Riccio, having a great time over at Gen Con. And today, boys, we have a show for you. We're going to be doing our intros, talking about games that are distracting us. No news today. There really isn't that much going on. And we got a question of the week and a little piece of reader mail. But before we get into that, like I said, intros, jumping right into it. And we have Mr. Glenn Burgess in here this week. Glenn, how you doing, buddy?
Yep, what's up? Doing pretty good, thank you. Not too terribly much to report as far as the non-gamer life.
You have that new kid yet? What's going on?
Not yet. Lots of doctor's appointments. We're 18 days out.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's we've been focusing so much on doctor's appointments and things. I feel like I'm at that point now where I'm like, oh, this baby's coming.
Yep.
Wait, is everything done?
It's real.
Is there a room in here where
if it wasn't serious before, it's serious now.
Right. So yeah, we're fully in that mode. We're counting down the days. We're almost to single digit. So it's looming. It's coming.
How's the vibe? How are you feeling? Like, are you 2 kids? That's a big deal. No pressure or anything, but like, how are you feeling? Where's your head at?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. It's I talk with Amy about this a lot, and while in general, like they talk about how mothers get attached to their kids pretty much the whole pregnancy, right? Like they're in there, they know they're moving around and everything. Dads, not that they don't care or they're unattached, but like once you see that baby and you hold that baby for the first time, that it becomes material, and you're like, all right, I will never let anybody do anything bad to you.
I do the same thing when I make a fresh plate of pot stickers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm just like, nothing bad is ever going to happen to you.
You know the exact feeling.
Exactly.
You know the exact feeling.
We're right here, dude. I see you.
Pretty much apples to apples. For sure.
Yeah. No differences at all. If you think there are any difference, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think.
Now I'm going to let you know. We're going to schedule the first broing up the day after you and Amy get home with the second kid. So get ready for that.
Oh, good.
I want to hear all about your experience.
Yeah, we're recording at 3 a.m. because I'll be up. Just in advance, I'll let you know. Other than that, man, it's just a whole bunch of just work garbage that I'm not going to bore everybody with or bring my own energy down with. So
that sounds amazing. That sounds awesome.
We can move right along.
More distraction.
All right, moving along. Geoff, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. Hanging in there. Saw Oppenheimer over the weekend. That was real good.
Pretty
good.
That.
You see going Barbie to see before or after that?
I have not seen Barbie yet. We're going to wait for streaming for Barbie.
Okay.
We just don't really think it's a theater-worthy movie, really.
It's coming out to Max in the fall.
Yeah, and movies here, if you want, like, we want to do like the VIP thing these days, just because room and old and cranky. So, to see a VIP movie here, it's $30 a person, basically.
What is that?
Taxes.
What's entailed with a VIP ticket to the movies?
VIP is just like it's usually a bigger theater, but less seats, and all the seats are like full, like recliners, and they can bring food to you and stuff.
Oh yeah.
If you enjoy adult beverages, they have those as well. Basically no kids. So, and it's of course you're paying a premium though. So, $60, that's not including food every time we go to a movie.
Oh, God.
A movie. Yeah, it gets there because they're like 24 plus tax, right?
Yeah.
At least at the ones that are around here.
I understand your sentiment now about, hey, we'll catch Barbie on streaming.
Yeah, exactly. Like we'll slum it at a regular theater if we absolutely have to. But
with the pores,
we are leading that charge. The pores, but it's like so we'll wait on that. Gonna go check out Ninja Turtles tomorrow.
That looks really good and getting good reviews too. Yeah.
I have a story.
I'm trying to really figure out with Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross scoring a Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on with life right now?
Well, I mean, He did Notebook, not Notebook. Social Network, didn't he?
He did the social. He's done like 10
I think
movies now.
he can do a bunch of different stuff now.
He
So
did a Disney movie called Soul. Like they're all
Yeah.
over the place, but
He's
it's
close.
just weird.
He's close to an EGOT. Like he just has to write a Broadway play, and he'll win an
Right there.
EGOT. Yeah, he's very close.
Got my vote.
yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
the
we're going tomorrow. So I was put in charge of getting the tickets for 6 40-year-old men to go see TMNT on
Okay.
Friday. So not yesterday, the day before, they finally put up the tickets for sale. So I saw, okay, we all agreed to go to this one theater that was kind of in the middle towards people coming from the east side, people coming from like more Toronto area. So I right away buy 6 tickets. And the total didn't come to what I thought it was. The total came up to like, it was like $19 a person or like $18 a person. And I was like,
Discount.
that's weird. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And then I noticed that the theater was a bit smaller, and I was kind of like, all right, well, I get it. It's VIP. They usually they look smaller when you look at them, the seating, because it's less seats. And because they don't have a lot of showings, maybe they put it in the smaller VIP theater because there's still Oppenheimer, still fucking everyone's going to see that. So that's one of the main ones. So anyway, so the day's going on. I'm kind of like, that's really weird. And I'm laying in bed with Tanya. And I'm like, how much was it when we went and saw Oppenheimer? Like, I don't think it was like $25, $30. And I was like, okay, well, the tickets for us were like $18, like all in for Ninja Turtles. And she was like, oh, what theater are you going to? I'm like, oh, the one in like Pickering. She's like, okay. So I'm like, okay, something's not adding up. So I'm checking my tickets and I'm like, okay, it does say VIP theater. And I'm like, okay, but it's not tagged as VIP. So I'm like, okay, it's a regular theater, whatever. That's probably why. And then I'm going through, I'm like, well, I went to the seating chart and I noticed that we were the only 6 people who purchased tickets for Ninja Turtles on Friday at 9:30 p.m. And I was like, okay, this is definitely weird. Something is up here. So I go to their website, I'm like going through it, and I'm going to the movie listing, and then I see something that says Clubhouse. And I'm like, I say out loud, I'm like, what the fuck is Clubhouse? And Tanya's like starting to kind of like laugh. She's like, oh no. So right away, I search Cineplex Clubhouse. This is the small theater for kids.
Yeah.
Like, it is a kids theater where the seats are different colors. There's a slide in the theater, which is a plus in my
Ooh,
book. That's pretty
Let's
awesome.
go.
That
Yeah,
sounds great.
I'm in. Is there a ball pit?
Yeah. Is there what?
A ball pit?
Maybe. Maybe. I think it actually goes into a thing of balls or something. I don't know.
Oh,
And I'm like,
shit.
oh my God. And like, that makes sense because it's 9:30 at night. No one's bringing their kids to see TMNT at 9:30. But also notice the screen's a lot smaller. The sound probably sucks. But then I started thinking, oh my God,
Yeah.
6 40-year-old people going into a kid's, we're getting put on a list. Like the
Oh, yeah,
second
you're
we
done.
walk in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, son of a bitch. Tanya's losing it, by the way. Like she is,
Of course.
I haven't,
It's so good.
Only
Oh
because it's
my God.
hilarious.
yeah, I have not heard her laugh so loud in a while. Like she was almost throwing up. She was laughing so hard because she said like she was looking at me and she saw like all the things that were happening by each step. I was like, why is it so cheap? Why are we the only people who have tickets? Why is the theater? Oh my God, what the fuck is Clubhouse? And then and then when I put on that YouTube, she just lost it. Like she couldn't breathe. And then I was laughing. I'm like, oh my God. But I called this morning and luckily they refunded the tickets, which they say online purchases are not refundable. I said, listen, like here's the situation. And the girl laughed and she was like, I can totally see. Yeah, she's like, that's the kids theater. And she's like, I'm actually surprised they have anything showing at 9:30. And she's like, okay, she refunded them. So I did get tickets for a different theater. It's a little bit further away from the people coming from my end of town, but whatever. Either way, we salvaged it. So still going to see Ninja Turtles tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. But that's it.
Yeah.
In
That's
regards
it.
to anything
Slides,
yes.
slides in your movie theater just ruin the acoustics for real. Like
Is it?
Yeah.
you don't want that.
Yeah.
You need the primo
Yeah.
experience.
And that would just distract us. Let's be honest. Like we'd just be going down the slide the entire time.
The
Right.
entire time. Yeah.
You miss a lot of plot points.
Yeah. Jason
Yo.
A. Striker, tell me what's happening. Tell me something good.
I thought I was done, man. I thought I made peace
Oh no.
with the arcade cabinet. I thought last week I was like, yeah, we got the buttons done. I don't think we'll do the sticks. because it's just a big hassle. Turns out
You want these sticks, don't
yeah,
you?
I want the sticks because you know what? The left stick gets stuck in the down position every now and again, and
Ooh.
I found out when I was like strolling through stuff, and I keep just like hitting it as fast as I could, but then it started going by itself, and I'm like, oh shit, these sticks are junk. So I ordered 2 brand new JLFs. I've already got springs. I've already got the gates on there, so we're good with that. I'm gonna have to drill new holes, but it's not the biggest deal. It's just gonna be a pain in the ass.
Mhm.
What is also gonna be a pain in the ass is waiting because I placed the order with Arcade Shock, and normally they're so quick. They're like, the next day it's like it's already been shipped. And I haven't gotten a confirmation yet from them.
Hmm.
So I was starting to worry until I realized that they're at Evo. Evo is this weekend, so I'm gonna have to wait
Oh,
to get my
yeah.
order filled until
Yeah.
after next week.
I was gonna say,
but
did you check and make sure they aren't the Clubhouse Edition
Right.
sticks
Yeah.
in multiple
Why don't you
primary
just pick them
colors?
up while you're at Evo?
Yeah,
Just walk
and
over
that made
there.
me really start missing Evo and like just not being in the industry anymore. Like I would have no chance in going to Evo ever again. So
Mhm.
like
Nah, you don't know that. You never
coming
know.
to terms with that is was less than pleasant. But yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll get to go someday again. But
Mhm. It'll
not
happen.
And
this
on
year.
that note, there's a
Not when it's the
GoFundMe for.
not when it's the biggest.
At the
tournament.
GoFundMe is at Patreon.
And
You
the
can look
biggest
at it
tournament
right
ever.
below.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a big tournament.
This is the biggest
Street.
Street Fighter tournament ever.
Yeah.
So,
$1 million or something like that for the winner.
That's a Capcom Pro Tour. That's what
Isn't Evo a part of that now, though, officially, though?
I think so, but yeah, you don't get $1 million prize for.
Oh, I thought the winner of Evo was the.
Mm.
Okay, gotcha.
No,
Okay.
yeah, Evo is just part of the. I think part of the tour now.
Mm.
And then they have once you go on the tour, they have it in some. They used to have it in like San Francisco. I went to one of those. That was really cool. Anyway, that's where I'm at with my quest. I'm getting new sticks, JLFs, 2-pound springs, Oxo gates. It's gonna be glorious.
Nice.
And then I'm never gonna use it.
I'll look. That's usually the way it goes.
Yeah,
On Craigslist for sale.
but it looks cool, man. Like, look, check it out. Where is it back there?
I can see it.
There he is. That little
Look at
guy.
that.
See that little screen?
Yeah.
Little fella.
Yeah, that guy.
And
No,
what
I
do you,
want one.
do you
I'll
have like
ship
an
it to you to
emulator on
mod
that? So are you playing?
Yeah.
You can play a whole bunch of shit, right?
Yeah, I've got it soft modded, so there's like 1,000 different games on there right now. Like all kinds of arcade ones, and then
All legally obtained.
yes, of course. I
Wink.
have the JAMA boards right over here in the closet.
Easily
there's-
swappable.
There's a shit ton of games on there, and it looks cool. It's neat. It's my fun
is
little
neat.
project. It's just getting more and more expensive, and I really didn't want it to be. Oops. Well, what about you, Travis?
Well, that's
What's you
it.
up to, buddy?
Guys, as you can tell by my boisterous mood,
Oh boy.
it's been a terrible fucking week.
Awesome.
It has been horrible. No, it was I had been going out a lot and being super social, hanging out, just to kind of like balance the scales a little bit and not focus solely on the constant rejection I'm looking for traditional employment. And I was like, okay, I need to pump the brakes. One, this group is great. I love these folks. They're exhausting me. When they go out, they go hard, and I'm just like, I'm just getting my sea legs back, and I'm just like, okay, I need to pump the brakes. But plus, I really need to take a couple of weeks and just focus on the job hunting. So I've been doing that. I had an interview. I knew it didn't go well from the start. I didn't feel good. It was just a phone call. I haven't talked on a phone like a normal plebe in months.
Yeah.
So I just was not comfortable just talking to somebody, like having like
That's
a
gotta be
remote
weird.
session. Yeah, it's super weird. And like having a remote. So long story short, I just didn't feel good about that. A few days later, got the rejection letter, super bummed out about that. And just this week, just finding jobs to apply for has been a struggle, and it hasn't been happy days. So I said, you know what? I'm going to spend some time watching some things that I am probably not going to enjoy. So I popped on Peacock, threw on old Twisted Metal, and boys, it's pretty damn good.
What?
Really?
Like
I don't
I
believe you.
Yeah,
binged
I've heard
it.
it's really good.
I binged it in a day and a half. I think it's like 8 to 10 episodes, 30 minutes apiece. It's a really,
Okay.
really quick binge. But I was surprised at how good it was. They had a couple of trailers release through the promotional period of this, and I mean, I think we can all agree that the
Those weren't
trailers
not
Oh, they
good
look
look like
trailers.
god
trash.
awful.
Yeah.
It was horrible. So I got out of the first episode, and I sat there before I went to episode 2, and I was like, "Did I like that? Like, that was actually really, really good." The show surprisingly has a lot of heart. It's got a really cool story. Um,
It's got Samoa Joe as Sweet
Samoa
Tooth.
Joe's in it.
Yeah.
There's some weird stuff with Samoa Joe because Samoa Joe plays Sweet Tooth, but yet Will Arnett is doing the voice, and
Yeah.
I think they do a pretty good job of matching the emoting of Samoa Joe with the voice acting. But
Yeah.
like it definitely, I constantly hear Will Arnett, and it's very distracting. He's got a very specific voice, and
Yeah.
if you've watched Arrested Development, yeah, you can't get that out of your head. But the show has a lot of heart. It's well cast. It's I really really loved it. I think that they did a great job of like just pace, action, comedy, a lot of heart. I can't recommend it more. It's not the best show of the year. It's not going to win any Emmys by any stretch of the imagination. But I will say that it is probably the most surprising thing I've watched in 2023. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and if you're a gamer, I think you should jump into it. There's a Easter egg, an in your face Easter egg right at the beginning, like in the first 5 minutes, where you're like, "Oh, this is gonna be bad," and then no, it just it takes off. It absolutely does. So it's really good. You guys should watch it. It's on Peacock. Definitely check it out. But other than that shit week, which was turned around by Great TV, that is all. So, gentlemen, let's talk about some video games.
Okay.
Who wants to go first? Glenn, you're the new guy. Let's go. What have you
Hey.
been playing?
I've been playing not enough Diablo 4. I'm trying to really just go through the story on this.
Olded it.
What? What'd you say?
Olded.
Olded. Yep, for real. I'm just trying to finish it. And I'm at the point now where I'm having to kind of make myself do it a little bit. I don't know. It's
Mhm.
not like I'm not enjoying it, but I just to sit down and grind through it. The energy level isn't there by the time I can pick up the Steam Deck and play. I'm like, all right, let's just do a couple of story missions and move on. So I'm in Act 5 now. I'm almost done. Finally got
Home
my
stretch.
horse. That was fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
I haven't really touched it in about a week, I want to say.
Whoa.
Once I hit 100, there hasn't really been much of a need. There is a new we're not doing a news segment, but they had a campfire chat kind of basically apologizing to the fans of their last patch, which like nerfed every class in the game. Um and then they came back, did an apology tour on a stream, and then announced that they're going to be doing, I think it happens in about a week, they're going to do patch 1.1.1, which is going to bump up barbarian, sorcerer. So I'm going to jump in and mess around with that because for me with sorcerer, survivability is really jacked up, one hit kills all over the place, and it's
yeesh.
if they can fix that, I may mess around maybe 4 or 5 hours a week just to kind of try to get some of those uber uniques that are, you know, kind of floating around there. I think there's a 0.002% chance of getting those dropped. So I don't know. I would like to get one of those, but I know that the chances aren't very high. But yeah, I'm not really messing around too much with Diablo right now.
Yeah, I figure I'll pick it up and finish, and then maybe get Geoff online to play online and say I experienced it, and maybe put it down for a bit. Um, Aside from that, I needed a little palate cleanse, so completely off my radar. But Geoff mentioned in the gaming chat on our Discord and was talking about the Sea of Stars demo that came out.
Yo.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wasn't paying any attention, and then he tags me and goes, "Hey, this is by the guys that did the Messenger." I'm like, "Hey, I'm in."
Mhm.
I don't even know what it
Yeah,
is, and I'm
Travis
in.
actually brought that to my attention in there, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to give it a shot because he said it was kind of like Chrono Trigger. And then I was like, and then I found out, I think it was a few days later, I was like, same universe as the Messenger. I'm like, I have to let Glenn know because
Yep.
he loved the Messenger.
I absolutely love the Messenger. I played way too much of the Messenger. But the Sea of Stars quick demo. It's only about an hour if you're really taking your time. going through it.
Mhm.
So it was a really good palate cleanse, and it turned out that I binged the demo and just wanted more, like immediately. I'm just like,
Good.
all right,
Nice.
that's it. Should I
Good.
play it again? And they did put in. They've got a couple of items and things in a hidden shop that you can find that give you a little bit of replayability. It kind of ups the difficulty or gives you a couple other little perks. So even in the demo,
Huh.
you can do that. And immediately I was greeted with at least a taste of what I wanted to see for the humor that I've seen in the messenger and a lot of the
Mhm.
dialogue there. At one point, I'm just walking around. I go to an area. There's a couple guards. I go, "Oh, what's up there?" And the guard stops me. He goes, "Sorry, sir. This area is not available during the demo."
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I like it. They've got a lot of this like super meta self awareness of what they're
Yeah.
making, and it's super endearing. I love it. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. That'll be a day one pickup for me. Just
That's
for that
Game
kind of stuff
Pass
alone.
too, but I want it's
Yeah,
just screams Switch for me though.
it's
So I don't
portable.
know.
That's something you want in a handheld, and
Yeah.
take that with a grain of salt from the guy who plays almost everything on a handheld these
Well,
days.
game
'Cause
you can still play it on Game Pass on your handheld.
I
I get
can.
that
It's just
option.
it's a pain. It's a massive pain.
No, then
I end
yeah.
up double
So
dipping on some of that stuff and picking it up on Steam anyway, just so I can play it on Steam
mhm.
OS. Because I can run it on Windows and play it, and it works. But it's just so shoehorned in there and doesn't perform quite as well. So
Yeah.
in the native operating system it's meant for, it doesn't work quite as well as the emulated version of it on Linux on Steam OS.
I'm
For whatever that's worth.
I'm interested in how well paid the developer is going to be for Sea of Stars because it is Game Pass, but it's also a PS Plus day one title as well.
Mm,
So
Oh yeah, it is on both. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm interested. This is the first time it's ever happened. So I'm curious how well they're being compensated for that deal, since the majority of their money is going to. I'm sure there's tons of people who are going to play this on the Switch because of the handheld ability. If that's not a word, I
No,
just made it.
most people are going to be on Game Pass or Plus for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I'd be interested in see how they do economically, with
yeah.
the vast majority of their consumer or their player base not spending a cent aside from the subscription fee. So
Yeah, it's
that'll
a
be
good
interesting.
experiment. Like you said, that hasn't those stars haven't aligned yet. So
Hey,
thank you.
You know if there's any planned DLC or anything? Usually, a lot of Game Pass games will kind of take that route afterwards or after the fact.
I would be
No idea.
shocked if a
Mm.
game like this has DLC.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah.
Well, the
more
messenger
and
did.
more
So
RPGs are
yeah.
adopting that as well.
Hmm.
But
I'd
yeah,
like to
we'll
see
see.
it.
Yeah.
Anything
looks
else,
rad.
Glenn?
No, I mean those are the two big time sinks. Nothing else except for a little hunt and packing in between.
There we go. Jeffrey, what's going on, man?
I finished Final May Fantasy.
Ooh.
I finished that.
Ooh,
Yep.
okay.
Yesterday or the day before, I can't remember which exact day. Don't want to go into too much. We talked to the death of it, but I ended up really liking it. It'll definitely be in my top 10 for game of the year for sure.
Cool.
I enjoyed it. I really like the ending. It's one of the endings that I'll like that will stick with me. Not necessarily because it like blew me away or anything. Just I thought it was very well done, and that's very rare from video games. I think like ever, like maybe one game a year will have an ending that I'm like, oh, okay, I like the way that wrapped up, and this was definitely one of those for me. And I am looking forward to. I really hope because there is no planned DLC. They did say there's nothing planned, but of course after the success, they have said that they might do some more stuff in the same universe and characters. So fingers crossed that they do to add something.
Torgal
Or
DLC.
another,
Let's
or
go.
16 too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
101
But yeah.
Torgles.
The only other game I'm playing is Remnant 2.
We can talk about that.
Do we have to?
That's I am so up and down on it still.
Yeah, me too.
I
we
like
played
it.
a little bit. We played. We beat a
We did. We
nasty
tried
boss.
co-op.
Yep.
Yeah, and I needed help from a boss. So I called Jason in there. I sent up the flare.
Needed the muscle.
And we tried a few times, and we
I
got him
didn't
down
know.
a couple times.
We
We
did
got him down.
okay.
Yeah, there was a couple times where I thought if we just had our mod recharge in time, I think I could have got him down to the last bit. But those roly polies, those are hard to deal with at the same
Sons of
time, and
bitches, yeah.
they are.
And there were more. You confirmed that there were.
They were more,
ads.
100%. Yes, because
Oh,
like when I was doing it, the first time the boss spawns them, there's like 3. and it started with like 5, I think, when it was the 2 of us playing, and I was like, yeah, and then it went up from there, and I was like, oh my god, okay, so it's not playing co-op is. I think it's definitely would make it easier throughout the main part of the game, but the bosses from the one time. So this is definitely for sure because the one time we tried it, so it's got to be the same for all the bosses, right? It's the way it
I
works.
would think, yeah.
It was just as hard until we said, fuck it. Travis got in there, and Travis had like a much higher level character, and we were worried that, oh crap, that's going to scale because it scales to the highest character.
And it did.
It did because Jace and I both noticed that we were doing less damage than before for sure. But with the 3 of us in there, and then Travis had his summoning things, taking aggro away from him, and his weapon was dealing a lot of damage. We were able to do it on the first try of the 3 of us, but it wasn't a cakewalk. Like it was still, we still had to think and dodge correctly and stuff.
Were you doing enough contributing that you were still having fun?
Yes, I definitely was.
Yes.
Yeah,
I remember we did like
levels...
the Division Online once, and that scaled so horribly. Like if somebody was 5 levels above you, you're literally doing nothing.
That made me stop playing the game.
Right,
with the Division.
So the levels jumped up when I joined their game. The levels jumped up, I think, at like 4 or 5 levels. But they were still able to be competitive, which is
okay.
I was kind of surprised.
One shot or anything.
I was surprised.
Yeah. I thought we were gonna get wiped. I thought Jason and I were just gonna get just eat shit the second we walked in that fog door, and then it would just be Travis hoping for the best. But
nope,
we hung in there.
What was that bullshit about Travis's spawns fucking staying outside the fog wall?
Oh, that's right. He didn't have his things because he called them out outside the fog door, and they were outside. Yeah, that's right.
Stuck.
Remnant.
Yeah. But since then, I've opened up the summoner class, so I did that. Got that weapon, that electricity weapon, which, dude, that combo,
it's easy.
It changes the game. It really it's the combat and going through the levels now. I'm not too worried when I hear that horn go off. Now I'm kind of like, ha ha! I fear no man. Come on, mate. But no, it's yeah. But again, it took like 12 hours to get to that point, or maybe even more. It was at like 8 or 9 hours. When I think we did the co-op, I think that's what my clock timer set for the game, and I've definitely played a few more hours since then to get all that stuff. Yeah. But I'm in that level now, Jason, the one that you started in that you hated, Lawful, is that the one? Whatever. And so far, it's been a cakewalk. But knock on wood, because the levels do seem to get harder the further you get down to them. But it's. I can't say I totally love it yet, but I'm more looking forward to playing it than I was before. And that cube boss in the labyrinth was kind of cool. It was kind of annoying to start with because it's kind of annoying, but once you kind of get the cube patterns down, it makes it easier to advance. So
yeah, the cube boss was my only true rage moment in the game. Like I was getting so frustrated because I was trying to blitz through it and like be super aggressive, but you really have to kind of take your time with it. And once I started doing that and pacing myself, I found it to be a little bit more manageable, and then I beat it in like 2 tries after that.
Yeah. Oh, nice. No,
but
it probably at least 10.
I had to it was about 10 tries for me too, but I had to put the game away and then come back to it because I was getting pretty furious at that boss fight. But you just kind of have to. It's one of those things where you just have to kind of like just keep doing it, keep learning something different every time, and then you eventually just beat it.
Yeah.
And I think I beat it by like the skin of my teeth when I did it too.
I did. I shot the last light square right when a cube was about to roll on top of me, and I was like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah.
But it was like it's an original boss fight, that's for sure.
It's cool. I love everything like kind of surrounding Remnant. The stuff on the fringe, like some of the backstory and like some of the dialogue with some of the NPCs and stuff.
I couldn't tell you anything that happens in that game. Really? Like I have no clue.
I remember, very early in the game, you walk up to Ford or whatever, and he's having a conversation with I forgot her name.
The girl that you're with at the beginning.
Yeah, and you start by walking up to them, and you start just overhearing the conversation. You can let them go, and like don't walk in the room, and they'll talk for a good 2-3 minutes. Like
because I walked right into the room, and they were like they stopped. Yeah,
but
interesting.
Yeah, before I went in there, I sat outside and I listened to the whole thing. It was just well done. It was like Oh, you wouldn't
Hmm.
normally expect something like this, and
No, not at all.
a seemingly throwaway kind of encounter. So
I actually got
there's a lot of cool stuff going on with Remnant.
there's a really good lore dump in the section where there are the two old men kind of sitting together, and
Yep.
there's one guy that's sleeping and one guy's a merchant. There's one guy who will just consistently tell you
Yep.
new stories. I think he's got like 30 or so like fresh stories to tell, and there's a huge amount of lore that kind of like fills in a lot of the
Mhm.
gaps and stuff. But he's also like very eccentric, so it's fun to listen to it. It's not like a boring drip of exposition. It's
Mud
kind of fun, and
tooth.
then he falls asleep, and you have to like nudge him to wake him up so he can continue telling the
Yep.
story. But yeah, but still, like at the end of the day, like each like contained story in all the worlds. The root
yeah.
is corrupting things, and
Root bad.
it's
Mhm.
bad, and I have to kill powerful beings to stop it. And that's pretty much all I knew.
I do like how if you do explore the dungeons, you definitely get a good amount of loot. I like that aspect, but one thing that kind of overwhelms me a bit because I have like so many relics, so many rings, and I don't like, and I don't know if this gets better because I've asked you a couple times, Travis, a couple stuff you did find actual like weapons and armor in a dungeon. I've yet to find any armor or weapons in a dungeon. I've had to buy them or get or boss fights or like whatever. I
Yeah.
kind of wish there was a little bit of that, but I kind of like the weapons I'm using, so I'm not too concerned. I did like in that level, Losum or whatever, there's these things that give you like, I guess, some kind of status effect that sucks. And I just wandering around, I found a ring that actually makes you immune to that, and I was like, oh shit! So it made
Mm.
those guys immediately like nothing. So it's a bit overwhelming. There's a lot of builds you can do. I was just looking like little increments, and I'm like, I never use them because I'm not terrible. I'm not terribly good with math or like
Yeah.
how these games work. So it'll be like plus 1.3% of this. I'm like, that's fucking nothing. Why am I going to do that? But then I'm
They
sure
want you to
it
keep
makes a
playing into
difference.
the they want you to keep playing into the higher levels because they consistently level up and level up and level up
Mhm.
throughout the game. And then I would assume
Will the
they
ones
start
already have level up, or do you find newer
you
versions of them that
find
level
newer
up?
versions, and it automatically and if it's one you have equipped, it'll automatically equip the upgraded version and scrap the other
Mm,
one and give you money for it.
okay, gotcha.
Which is a nice
That's
little
nice.
quality of
Yeah.
life little piece there. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right about the builds. The game doesn't explain very much to you, so you kind of have to figure out stuff on your own or check out a guide. And it wasn't until the very end of the game when I actually realized how they want you to play. Like they want you to kind of rinse and repeat the campaign and then keep on re-rolling new adventure modes and stuff so you can level up new classes. And every class has a series of abilities, series of passive skills, but then you also have these, you collect those trait cards, and you can, every time you get one of those, you get a point for your traits. You can apply that point to increase your running speed or increase your health, stamina, all these different things, health
Mhm.
regeneration. Every class, the best ones, like the best traits in the game, are the ones that are specific to each class, each archetype. And if you level up to like level 9, you'll have pretty much the entire trait filled out, and you're going to get that passive ability. But if you unequip it and equip another archetype, you lose it. But if you get to level 10, the big upgrade you get is that you can now put points into that trait um, in any class. So they want you to constantly repeat the same things over and over again and unlock all the classes, upgrade them to 10, and then you have the full bevy of traits to
Then you
choose
can mix and
from.
match. Yeah.
And then you can mix and match with the best traits, and that's how you get more competitive with like the higher difficulty mode. So it took me a while to kind of like realize what they're doing there. It sounds like an intriguing process because up to a point, because the gameplay, I really enjoy it. Like I was surprised at how much I enjoy the core gameplay. I ended up beating it yesterday. Final boss is it's a good final boss. Just like almost all the bosses in a game are good. It is a good final boss. It took me, I would say, well, I attempted like 7 tries, and then he was just whipping me. But so I was like, okay, the dog isn't doing anything in this instance because it's a flying boss. So I need to replace the dog
Oh,
with
bummer.
something else. Yeah, it was a bummer. I wanted to kind of carry it through
Torgal
with
would have
that
taken it out.
class. Torgal would have owned it. I just sit back and that's it. But you would have. So I unlocked the engineer class. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to stick to the summon mindset, and I'm going to have my summons and then place a turret. I think I one-shot the boss once I did that. Like, no, I didn't. I died once, and then I went back in and figured out, because there's these different phases and different dimensions. So I put my summons in one dimension and then my turret in the other dimension. So at all times, if I couldn't shoot the boss, my summons were damaging the boss. So that helped me focus on dodging and not getting killed while the boss takes damage, and I eventually took them out. Cool ending. I kind of like it. If you guys do end up beating it, don't skip the credits, because there was a post credit scene that you will skip if you skip the credits. So just FYI.
I hate when games do that.
I hate it too. I don't know why they didn't do it. So many quality
Just
of life
fucking show
features.
it.
Yeah, just show it. Yeah. But overall, my game is. I don't know if I'm going to go back into it immediately. I enjoy it, but it's I would probably say it's maybe like 10 on my game of the year list, because it was such a surprise and I kind of gelled with it so quickly. So it's there for me, but it's like a late, it's probably going to get pushed out if something better, releases. So
Right.
Yeah. Jason, are you still kind of stuck? Are you still kind of like?
Yeah, I've got my mind on other stuff at this point. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 came out today, and yeah, I've been playing a little bit of that.
What are your thoughts on the early game?
Early game stuff has been intimidating because there's just a lot going on. I mean, obviously this is like the digital version of like 5th edition, D&D essentially. So there's a lot of rules and, rule sets and, flavor text and spells and cantrips, and just goes on forever and ever. And if you're not immersed in that world already, it can be a little intimidating, to hear all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not anticipating that. That was one of the things that were players who are experienced in D&D were kind of warning, like, try not to get too intimidated, just roll with it and learn as you go. So I have that mindset there, but I've been trying to go in blind into Baldur's Gate, because I just figured out like 2 days before it released on PC that it's not coming day and date on console, that we had to wait a month at least. So I was bummed out about that. I thought I was going to play it this week. So I at least have a good mindset, and I thought about going in blind because I want this to be like an epic experience with no expectations. But I think I'm actually going to look into some videos and kind of get an idea of what to expect, learn some things.
And I played a tiny bit of the early access stuff. I didn't want to go too far because your progress doesn't carry over, and you got to start from scratch. So, but yeah, I rolled they give you a bunch of characters that you're gonna meet kind of along the way that might end up being your core party. So I tried rounding that out, and I chose like a paladin or whatever, and I'm just gonna Commander Shepherd it, throughout the game, and go from there. But yeah, good mix of crew so far. I've got like this vampire dude, that's a rogue. I've got a really cute half elf cleric. I like her a lot. Her name's Shadowheart. I've got a mage that got his ass stuck in a portal of his own summoning. I had to get him out of there.
And you want him in your party?
Well, he's the only mage that I got, man. I just gave him magic missile, so now he's unstoppable.
We just attacked the darkness.
But shit, dude, there's a lot going on. Like, if there's a gap in the map, you actually have to choose a jump skill. Sometimes you have to roll to make sure that you actually do it.
Oh wow,
it's nuts. So yeah,
so there's actually like a dice roll in the game that you interesting.
Yep, there's a die roll that comes up for all your saving throws and checks, ability checks and shit. And
I love that,
pluses and minuses.
I love it.
They've got something called the karmic roll as well. So if you start going on like a streak of like a really bad streak of rolling 1s and 2s and shit, they'll actually bump it up to where you will start succeeding after a while. So it's not just like constant failure, but it works the other way as well. If you're on a hot streak, they'll bump it down. So you're failing every now and again. But yeah, I found a little crypt, just like off the beaten path. I used my rogue to, use thieves' tools to unlock the lock in it. Went down, fought some undead, and then found a mummy. And he just he asked me this question, and you answer him, and he likes my answer. So apparently, I'm going to meet him further in the game, and this was like a completely skippable, side crypt or whatever the fuck it was. So we'll see how much impact he has. His name is Withers. And
Withers,
he's a mummy.
a mummy?
It's pretty
That's
good.
fantastic.
But yeah, we'll see how he comes back. I just wonder how deep this game is, because they've said it's 140 some hours or something of both cinematics, cutscenes and stuff, and just pages upon pages of of dialogue that's not voiced, so trying to think of some intricate stuff that happened.
How's the combat?
Yeah.
How is that? How does that feel?
Well, it's pseudo turn based, so everybody rolls for initiative, and then it just kind of queues up, whoever rolled whatever. You're not actually physically rolling the dice or anything, but they do it for you. But yeah, you've got surprise attacks and sneak attacks and everything that you would expect, I guess, going into or taking from a D&D rule book, and it seems to be implemented really well. But
and once everybody rolls for initiative, is it more like so everybody has their place in line, and then it's more like a strategy RPG at that point, like a tactics game, or
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's not tile based or anything. So like if there's fire on the ground, you have to point and click around the fire. You can't walk through it, or you'll actually take damage. So they're not messing around. Yeah, I like it a lot, and I think I'm going to be playing it a lot. I wonder what multiplayer is going to be like. That's going to be interesting.
So is that not available?
It is
on
day
one. Okay,
yeah,
it is.
I don't have anybody else on my friends list that's playing on PC.
Wait for Chris.
Yeah, yeah. I want to check that out for sure. So they're not messing around with the nudity either, I guess. So right in the beginning of the game, they ask you, "Do you want to see nudity?" And I'm like, "Yes, I want to see nudity."
Oh yeah.
Do you want to see it in the cinematics? And
I
I'm
want
like,
to think.
"Yeah, I
You
wanna
think
see it in the
angle
cinematics."
everywhere.
Then they ask, there's another option that's like, do you want to enable privacy mode? And I'm like, what the hell is that? So you hover over it, and it's like, apparently you can have like either sex streams or have sex at camp, and like your multiplayer
Like the
compadres
description
would be able to see it as well. Like, I want those moments for myself, but
Whoa.
they are private. They are private for sure.
But you can make them not very private and let I don't want Chris watching me.
Is there an action to
my-
applaud? Because that would be get all
good
your friends in camp.
I don't know.
Woohoo!
Witness me.
You got to look me in the eyes, or I can't finish.
Can you see what she's getting into?
No, I can't. I just see her
No.
butthole every now and again.
No, it's not on camera.
Game's deep.
No,
Game
no,
is super fucking deep. I'm intrigued, and I'm gonna play a lot of this, I think.
Yeah,
So,
I'm excited, but a little bit scared.
yeah,
It's daunting.
there's a lot going on for sure, and it's gonna be
Alright.
tough for me to like put anything else in my
That was Minushi.
playlist while this
Yeah.
is going on. So we'll see.
If you step
Very
away
cool.
from it for like a week or 2 weeks, is it
I've-
going to be the kind of game that
I've
you have to
already
really
forgotten how
right?
to play. Yeah, I have no idea how to play now, and it's been an hour.
It's been too long. The show's been too long.
Yep.
I don't remember.
Anything else, Jason?
No, that's about it. Yeah, fucking with the cab, Baldur's Gate, and just retro stuff here and there. That's about it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's see. For myself, I talked about Remnant 2 ad nauseum. Played, I was kind of bored in between finishing Remnant, and I was like, you know what? Let me just go back into my new game plus in Final Fantasy 16 and just it's like riding a bike, man. You don't forget how to play that game.
Right.
It just feels so good, and it just like after being away from it for a few weeks and then coming back to it, I keep on reminding myself how brilliant that combat system is. It is highly addictive, super fun, and playing that early game with all of your powers is just
Yeah.
a blast. I'm skipping through the cutscenes, just enjoying the gameplay itself. I got through the first proper icon fight, and it's just fun, just bulldozing through them. It's
sure.
it's a blast, and it is
So what do you carry over in New Game Plus? I'm sorry.
everything except quest items.
Okay.
Yep, everything carries over.
Nice.
So I
you
have
got your
my
Berserker
full
ring and everything.
Berserker ring, full loadout of
Yeah.
icons and powers. Everything's there. You retain your level, and then you get another extra 50 levels to level up to. And then, of course, like the New Game Plus is a higher difficulty mode, so you get tons more money, ability points, experience. So you're leveling up. You're not leveling up fast, but I
Right.
mean you're leveling up fast enough.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, I've hit that the original game's cap. So I'm at like 51 right now, and I'll probably end up playing through it again just to see how the fights change with this different approach. So loving it. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Like right now, it is my bona fide game of the year. Every fight, I'm just excited to get into it. The story was awesome. It's my favorite game this year by far. I love it. I love it. But then I stopped playing because I'm like, you know what? Baldur's Gate's coming out. I got a little bit of a backlog of games. So a couple of weeks ago, Geoff and someone else online was talking about a game that they had finished recently. So I'm like, you know what? I need to play it as well. So I downloaded the Quarry. And not going to talk. It's an older game, but it's who's the developer? Supermassive, is that right? Supermassive, yeah. So they did
like their A team. It's like the one that did Until Dawn.
Yeah, and Until Dawn is the only Supermassive game that I have played, and I really, really enjoyed it. Game gave me a very, very quick false sense of security because I had all my characters alive, and then like in the last 2 hours, I lost everybody except for 2. So I'm sure in chapter 1, I made a decision saying I chose to be erratic instead of sincere, and then in chapter 10, it killed everybody. I'm sure that's what happened. So a little frustrating how that game kind of does that, because the Quarry is essentially the same exact game, just a lot prettier, and in my opinion, it's a better story, better characters. This time around, like, you think that characters are a specific stereotype, but everybody has something to like about them.
Yeah.
So
one of the main characters is the guy that's in Dungeons and Dragons too. I was like, this guy looks fucking familiar. And I was watching Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, oh yeah, he's in the Quarry.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a couple of the girls I recognize
sorcerer
too.
guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the chick from Modern Family. Can't remember her name. Ariel Winter. She's in
Ariel Winter. Yeah, she's in that. And there's one actress who had a small role, a new girl who's in that. So yeah, it's pretty good. I'm like in chapter 6 right now. I played a good bit of it today, and I really, really, really enjoy it. But I play with this sense of anxiety because I don't want anyone to die. I've gotten to the point where I like most of these characters, and I want to keep it going. But I know at some point the ball is going to drop, and decisions that I made chapters ago is going to come back.
Kill him. It's going to be
and
your fault, Travis.
I know.
Your hand.
I know. I'm gonna have to live with that, guys. I'm gonna have to let that go down smooth. So that's what I'm playing there. And then Jason, I played WrestleQuest, the demo.
Tell me about it.
So I like it.
Okay.
I'll preface with that.
All right. Well, good.
I like it.
Well, thanks.
It didn't meet my expectations of what exactly it was.
Okay.
If I were creating this game, I would have allowed the player to kind of create their own character, to kind of forge your own path.
Sure.
In this game, you play a specific, in the demo, you play a specific set of characters, but they're all set characters in this story. The general outline of the game is that the game is being told on a wrestling podcast. So you have like classic wrestlers like Jake the Snake, Jeff Jarrett, all sitting around a podcast table talking about the legacy of Macho Man Randy Savage and those that he inspired. And then there's this little boy who's like, I want to be the next Macho Man. And then time jump to the future, and you are the muchacho man, and you essentially help a guy run this amateur wrestling gym, and teaching these new young wrestlers how to wrestle. And this is basically how the demo teaches you all the basic functions of combat and whatnot. And so it didn't meet my expectations there, but once I got into it, I started to like it more and more and more. Because if you are first things first, if you're not a fan of wrestling, you just want to play a new RPG, I don't know if this game is going to be something that you really, really gel with, because this game is for fans of wrestling. Like, all the little side jokes, all the main story beats, up into including anything that you use in combat, abilities, items, everything is sprinkled with wrestling love. Like, all of your abilities, they can be gimmicks, they can be taunts, everything is this fun little 16-bit style of like the 16-bit like wrestling moves that you see all the time. Like, your first ability is like the Stone Cold Stunner, and then you see Macho Man Randy Savage doing his big elbow drop. So like, everything you love about wrestling, you can tell that the developers feel the same way. So the love and care is so there. And then the combat's really fun. So you could have one-on-one matches, you can have tag matches, and they have it set up to where it's standard turn-based, 16-bit RPG style.
Okay.
And you have your abilities, and you can do taunts, you can do gimmicks, which are your main special moves.
Yep.
You have set finishers, and then you have another bar of abilities that could be like tag team abilities and other things like that. And you can use items like a spray bottle that kind of like refreshes you and stuff. Like, everything is built around like the wrestling world.
That's silly.
Bandages to like heal your wounds. You can have managers stand outside the ring, and they can have special abilities and stuff, which is really fun. Like, kind of boost your attack power with them doing their thing. And and I think it's going to take a little while to get really comfortable with it, because like, there's also like this, while you're trying to fight and lessen their hit points and keep yours above water, there's also like a momentum bar at the bottom of the screen. So every time you take damage, you lose a lot of momentum, but every time you cause damage, you get a little bit back, but you want to sway that momentum in your direction at all times. So like, they give you a bunch of abilities with a lot of plus and minus, simultaneous plus and minus status effects. Like, the best way to get momentum in your favor is to not do an action to damage the player, but like, do a taunt. So you can taunt, dance around a ring, do like do a little Jeff Jarrett, or do a little Ric Flair or something. And then you can get a lot of your meter back. But the issue with that is you won't cause damage, and then you also take a little bit more damage. So a lot of risk reward in a lot of the moves in the game.
I gotcha.
So like, yeah, it gives you a lot to think about. There's more strategy involved versus your standard 16-bit, JRPG.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's good. But if you're a wrestling fan, it is just full of just like wrestling fantasy, and then a bunch of kayfabe that's in there. It's just it's a charming little game, and then you get to jump out of the muchacho man and go into some other characters. So it kind of lets you know that, hey, throughout the game, you just don't stick with this character. You're going to kind of like learn other, pretty much play a bunch of other people, and I'm assuming they're all going to come together at some point. So it's it's a pretty cool game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's necessarily day one. It just depends what's going on. I don't remember the date. If it comes out before Baldur's Gate, I'll get it. If it comes out after Baldur's Gate, I don't know if I'm going to get it. So
I think you
we'll
should
see.
get a computer so you can get Baldur's Gate now.
Yeah.
I definitely need a better computer for that.
See?
I definitely do.
See?
So I have to spend $2,000 so you can have someone to play co-op with, is what you're saying.
Serious, brother.
That's
See you there.
I see you. All right. But that's it for me, gentlemen. And that's the games we've been playing. And we're not going to do news. We're skipping
I
it.
say, on to the news. Wait.
On to news. No
After-
news. No news is good news. So, Geoff, we have a question of the week. You posed a question out to the audience, and I think we got some answers.
Yeah, so this question actually came in from old buddy going way back, friend of ours and the show, Sniper Maverick, one
Hey.
of the original mustachios.
What's up?
That guy.
Yeah, he had a question, and then I was like, you know what, that's a pretty good question of the week thing that we could probably get on short notice since there wasn't a lot of news today. So figured we'd build on that. So he says, Snipe here, I need help. I'm addicted to Call of Duty and Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. I've been playing since launch last year and have tried to take breaks with other games, but to no avail. Geoff knows. He's seen me call and has called me out on Xbox Live, but I love it. What's the game you guys have had an unhealthy obsession with? And so you guys don't think I'm 100% insane. I did actually have a little break at some point. Played and beat High on Life and the Dead Cells Castlevania DLC. But that's it. Snipe, you need to play something else, man. He's online. He's always like he buys everything and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna play it. And then every single time he pops online, it's like
no.
Call of Duty.
Is he
Call of Duty.
online? Is he
Call of
online
Duty.
playing right now?
I will check. Well, someone else.
He
Actually,
went
I was
as
gonna
far
say-
as he
Mine's-
buys everything in Call of Duty too. He bought like a cat operator. Like he was a little like
Oh yeah,
6 foot tall cat person.
Let me get him on
playing Call
let
of
me
Duty.
get him on Discord. We'll have
See
an
if he's see if he's
Intervention
online.
for him.
See if he's online
need
right
to.
now, and I will attempt to call him on Facebook Messenger right now. I'll do it.
He's not online right now.
He's
No.
not
He's not
online
okay.
right
I don't want to wake
No.
him up because I know he's on the East Coast. So,
He's like,
my game's easy. It's Destiny and Destiny 2. There used to be an API tracker that would track how much time you played between both games, and it's I don't have it anymore, but it was something around 1,600 hours.
Yeah.
It
Oh
was
my
it was sick.
Holy shit.
God.
And ironically, that was a game where Geoff was constantly being like, "Stop playing that game, play something else." So Geoff is very
Between the
sensitive
1,600 hours or
between
across
the two.
both games.
Between the two. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not
That's
sensitive.
that's a little better.
I just can't. I just like. I guess because I can't wrap my head around playing one game for so long, and only
It's-
that game. It just boggles my mind. I'm like, how do you do that?
I can't
Especially
play.
when people buy other stuff. I'm like, doesn't that bother you? Like,
So
play
I
this
can't
or-
play. I can't play a game like that if I'm just like playing by myself. Like I'm not going to put 16 hours in a game like that. Like Destiny and Destiny 2 had such a large shelf life for me because we had a massive active community.
Oh
So
yeah, of
Chris,
course, yeah, it definitely
myself,
helps.
Omer, we had at least 4 guys on every single night. So it was easy to play. So it was not much less that Destiny was so good. It was that the community was so solid and we had so much fun playing with each other. So that was the bulk of it, because when it got to the point where like, we're at the tail end of an expansion and not a lot of people are playing, I wasn't really playing much either then. Like I was still playing a lot, but I wasn't playing nearly as much, and so were everybody else, and it wasn't as fun. So like I get it. And I played a lot of Modern Warfare 2 at launch because I had a group that played it pretty religiously at the time. And it is fun. It is super addictive. That extraction mode that they have on there is DMZ, I think it's called, is fire. It is super, super fun. So I get the addiction, and I'm sure that he's playing with a core group of guys that are playing all the time. And that's really the pull.
I actually don't think he is. Correct me if I'm wrong,
Huh.
Snipe, but I think he just goes in there and just plays
I
with
think you're right.
randoms. Yeah.
Oh, if he's playing by himself, he's a crazy person.
Yeah.
weirdo.
I don't know. The Call of Duty online community is really known for their togetherness, their
They
friendly.
Oh, yeah,
really invite
absolutely, yeah.
everybody in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Acceptance
They are all about
is- yeah.
equal rights, and they are just swell people.
I've never had a
Sniper's not like
standard
one
of
of those
any
people, by
type.
the way, guys.
No,
Sniper's a
no.
good dude.
He is a good dude. He's
Yeah.
good
He
people.
definitely plays with Mike off.
Greg Little, actually, he wrote in on the Twitters, and I'm not sure if he played with you guys, Travis, but he said, Destiny is a fickle mistress.
Yes.
Case in point, now that there's a little bit of a lull in D2 content, I'm just now starting for Horizon Forbidden West. So I guess that's one from Greg. He agrees on the Destiny.
Yeah.
There's actually another one who actually wrote in about Destiny as well, and he says, this is from GR Sonic, also on the Twitters. He says, also a long time friend of the show, he says, one game series that comes to mind when it comes to playing a lot of, started from the PS4 era, Destiny.
Oh my god.
Yep.
I'm
Destiny got a
sensing
lot of people.
Sensing a pattern.
I
mean,
It's an epidemic.
It's no surprise that why so many companies have attempted, most have failed to emulate the success that Destiny's had. Yeah, it's a super addictive game. Super addictive. Destiny's my big one, but like, I mean,
Well,
if
let
my
someone else have one
what's up?
before
Yeah.
we go into another Twitter
I'll give
thing
you
here.
I'll give you my most recent. And
Sure.
you can attest to this because you
I
tried to
know what
pull
this
me
is
into
for
a
you.
couple other games. It's Halo Infinite was
Yeah.
an absolute killer for me. I've got 447 hours in that game, and
Oh
it's
wow, yeah, that's good.
almost all multiplayer.
Yeah.
I, for a period of time there, and not an insignificant period, it was probably like 4 months.
Mhm.
Every
It
single
was a
night,
long time, dude. There
every
was a
night we
time
would put that
where
baby to bed, and me and Amy
yeah,
both would be like, all right, we're gonna jump online, play some Halo now, and we'll play for hours.
Nice.
yeah. And I knew, like, if I was ever in the mood to play Halo during that
Yep.
time, I would just hop online and I would know that Amy and Glenn, like, they were going to be on there. And that's actually when I got back into it, playing it a lot too, is when you guys were playing it a lot.
It was
I
just so
definitely I
solid.
definitely had to take my breaks from it though, but yeah, it was
That's the latest for sure. I enjoyed it, and it has its I had my complaints about it as far as the multiplayer is concerned, and how
mhm.
things fit. It was buggy. I mean, thousands of times I've been murdered from around a corner with a wanted bullet that bent as it went around because the servers had so much strange lag between them. It's crazy, but they over time poured time into it and effort, and fixed a lot of those little things. They brought in a lot of good content eventually. It took a long time, but eventually they started bringing in content and actually making it a live service. And then that combined, same thing though with what you're saying, Travis. It was a lot to do with the fact that me and Amy were playing that together, and we got hooked on
Yep.
it. And then Geoff would come in, and we had her
Mhm.
brother would come in. We had a
That's
number of
right.
people that would just jump
Yeah.
on and play games.
Yeah.
So anything that brings that community together, so you got something to do while you're all hanging out, is kind of the common thread.
Yeah.
Good
As
times.
much as I gave you shit too, to like, you need to play this game, you need to play this game, that the community part did pull me back in to play Halo on nights when I was like, okay, maybe I don't know don't know what I want to play. I should probably play something. I'm like, they're up there on there. Let's do that. Let's
Mhm.
do a few matches. Masubi, aka Demoskinos from back in the day,
Mhm.
probably rings a bell.
Indeed.
This one, this is impressive. If impressive is the right word to use here. He says I got 6,000 plus hours in Final Fantasy 14.
What is wrong
What?
with you?
Ooh. Ooh.
Spoiler
Ow.
alert, this isn't even the highest we're going to get to, by the way.
What?
And Travis, you've played Final Fantasy 14.
It's on my list. It's on my
Is that
list.
how high are you compared? Like, what is your on a level of 1 to 10 or 1 to 6,000?
Won the 6,000. No, I
Yeah.
would, I'd have to look at it. But the PlayStation's only going to tell me how much time I've played on the PlayStation because I did play.
Yeah.
I played more before. I would venture a guess.
Do you play it on a PC?
I played a little bit on PC, and then I also
Okay.
played it on PS4. I want to say, if I'm just guessing in the dark, 500 to 600 hours. Just
That's still
guessing in the dark.
fucking lot,
It's
man.
a ton. It's a
Jeez.
ton, but
Yeah.
it's. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a tad more. But yeah, I put a lot in that. I mean, but that's like and that's me essentially just mainlining like the start of A Realm Reborn up into Endwalker. So it still takes a lot of time.
I keep trying to think of why I keep going back to the games that I play a lot, and it's not actually because of like content. Do you think that's what keeps you coming back with Final Fantasy 14? Is it like
I
the
treated Final
expansions
Fantasy. I did because the
Okay.
story is so damn good, and I treated it like a single player experience because that was how it was recommended to me.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, I want to try, because I had played through A Realm Reborn and made it to the point of the first expansion a long time ago,
Mhm.
and then someone had told me online, it was like, dude, you got to play this game. I think it was Johnny as a boy
Yeah,
who
he's big
talked me
into it
into it, and so he was like, dude, you got to play it. Like, the game doesn't start until you hit the expansions, and he was not wrong. It's one of the better single player Final Fantasy experiences story wise that that I played. It's really good.
I
Just
do.
a-
I tried getting into it. I tried playing it not too long ago. It was this year, and I think I need a Sherpa or a few of them to play an MMO because I was just so lost. I didn't
Mhm.
know what I was doing, where to go, anything. I was like, I gave up after like 2 hours or 3 hours. I'm like, I
I
can't do
think
this.
if the UI was a little bit cleaner, the
Mhm.
UI,
That was my
even though
main
it's on
issue
the
with it.
even on the console, the UI is made for PC. Like it just had tons of windows popping up, and then you got to like
Mhm.
use a cursor, and it's super clunky. It's
Mhm.
not well implemented, and like I will say you get used to it after 500 hours, but like you do, but
Yeah.
you shouldn't have to on console.
My
So that's
favorite
a
recommendation on a game, by the way, is like, hey, you get used to
you get used to it. Yeah.
it. 5 stars.
um, but yeah, it's good. I like it.
That's
Jason,
just
do
for
you have an
context. That's 250 days, 6,000 hours. Just
Yeah.
that's
there.
Jason, let me guess. What is
yeah,
your
what's
game?
yours gonna
What have
be?
you played?
I've got a couple. I've got a few actually.
Okay.
Like I think series is probably going to be Street Fighter.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
and then Monster Hunter. That's another one that
Okay.
I can easily say that like each one that comes out, I've put at least a few hundred hours in. But
Mm-hmm.
there's some of them, like Try and World that I've put well over 500 hours in.
Wow.
Uh,
Wow.
it's pretty nuts, and I'll play them on different systems. Like it with Rise, I've got it on 2 or 3 different. Yeah, I've got it on 3 different systems, and I've played it significantly on each one. So, um, but yeah, going off what I was saying before, it wasn't because of like new content or anything like that. It wasn't new characters. It was just that it had a really good loop. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Monster Hunter, like I would just get into a groove with that, and I could do it over and over and over and
Mm.
over again, and just be satisfied with that. With Street Fighter, it was just like sitting in training and doing combos over and over and over again until, I learned how to, do a fucking uppercut, until I could throw a fireball, until I could do the jump fierce slow forward into fireball,
Mhm.
classic 3-hit combo on, whenever I wanted to. So that's what it was for me. It wasn't like new stories or DLCs or anything like that.
With love for the game, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, mine is specifically Street Fighter 4. Is probably by far my highest, and that comes down to community and the whole social aspect of our entire fucking lives revolving around it
Yeah.
for how many years?
That was a
Everywhere we
long
went,
time.
it was. I want to say there's like a 3-year span, probably maybe more than that. I don't know, but anytime we had a meetup or did anything anywhere, there was at least one TV with Street Fighter 4 going
Yep.
on, at
Mhm.
least. And the amount of fight nights we had every Thursday night after recording, that was a thing for a long time. Like
Yeah.
it became normal. Like people knew when to log on. It's like it's around whatever o'clock.
We would record on
they're gonna.
Thursdays, but the show didn't actually get released until like Monday or Tuesday.
That's right.
Usually because
Yes.
of Street
Yeah.
Fighter.
Because of that.
Yeah. And we would be up. We'd be up like staying up till 3 in the morning on like
Mhm.
Friday morning was a normal
Routinely.
thing, and
Yeah.
I remember working 12 to 8 that time, and so it wasn't that big of a deal. But and then add on to that just all the regular like ranked matches, and then in person play like ED Palooza, the Indus Fest, the tournament, like everything was just
Canada trip.
the Canada. Just, oh Jesus! Like that
We're-
was I like.
we were
I
pissing
know,
people
Trav.
off
You can
left
hear
and
this.
right.
Yeah, like that's one of my favorite stories is when we like it's on episode 0. But if Travis wants to tell it real quick, just because it was, yeah. And this is Travis wasn't super into Street Fighter, but he was in it enough, I guess.
It was in that was my peak. It was around my peak when I was playing
Mhm.
Scrub Sport with you guys and playing a good bit. But no, long story short, in my past life, my wife and I had went and visited Jeff and Tanya in Toronto. And the first night, Jeff and I stayed up all night playing Street Fighter and pissed my wife off a little bit. And she was like, "Okay, no more Street Fighter, please, guys, don't do that." And then like a couple of days later, we went to Palladium, which is like
Yeah.
a Dave and Buster's type thing. And then Geoff knew that there was like a homemade Street Fighter 4 cabinet that was there, and like we walked straight into it. And like the second that Megan realized where she was at and what she was standing in front of, it was not good.
Her exact words were, "Fucking come on!" Yeah.
There were little kids running around and stuff like that. And
We
she was
took
like,
a
"What
trip
the
to New York together, Geoff, and I'm pretty sure we rerouted people like
We-
10
oh my
blocks
God.
to go to some back
We
alley
did.
arcade.
We went
try
to that
find-
arcade in New York that like Jess and Wong like grew up playing at. It
Yeah.
was like
Wow.
I can't remember what it was called, but it was like it had Move Place, I think, or something, and it was a bunch of bootleg, like it was a bunch of modded 360s that they had all the
Yeah.
games running off the hard drive, and
Nice.
it was unlimited play, but you had to rent the arcade sticks. So by the time we got there, like it was Tanya and I, we took a bus there, and a red eye bus. So it was all throughout the night. We got to New York, didn't take a nap or anything. Went to it, met up with Glenn, met up with Robbie and Adventurine, and then he wanted to take us to pizza somewhere in Brooklyn. So I was like,
God,
well,
I'm
that's where this
still
thing is.
disappointed.
But we dragged everybody there, and I could just tell everyone's mood because no one there could give a shit. And so me and Glenn were just like, well, let's play a few matches. And this was just after Street Fighter Cross Tekken actually came out.
Mhm.
So we played a couple matches of that. Then we played a couple Street Fighter 4, and then we're like, hey, let's go. This is
Yeah.
the girls and the other guys. They're not really.
The vibe in
they're
the
not
room was
enjoying
very.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the
But
audience.
it was cool, and I was so tired. I was at that point. I was like, I kind of want to wrap this up. But yeah, definitely in like 1,000 hours or so. We have one more email, but I was going to keep it. If anyone else has anything, I was going to say, like, for me personally, I haven't really started putting a lot of hours into games till kind of recently. It's, I don't know what it is, but now like the sound of like a 30 or 40 hour game used to scare the piss out of me.
Yeah.
Now I kind of welcome them, and I don't know what that is. But like Elden Ring, I put over 100 and something
Same,
easily.
yeah.
Bloodborne was 100 and something.
Yep.
I can go back as far as like PSO, but even PSO, I don't even think I spent that much on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
it's
think for
not a big
me-
one for me. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Probably second. I mean, I've put like a couple hundred hours on a ton of games, but I think number 2 for me in terms of like my entire lifespan, my history of playing video games, number 2 behind Destiny, and this is my final one on my list, is Madden. I haven't played a lot recently because just the series has been so creatively stagnant to me. We need competition. But before I stopped playing, Madden was a yearly purchase, and it was hundreds of hours each year, just playing online competitively with friends, playing my franchise mode, things like that. Madden was a big part of my gaming persona, if you will. But I would love to go back to it. I would love to go back and love that series again. I just think they need competition. I don't think it's ever going to get good unless there's someone else making a game better than them or threatening to make a game better than them. So
Why bother?
I know, right?
I
You don't
agree.
have to.
Bring
So-
Blitz back. Let's go.
Oh, I
would
love
Blitz,
real.
dude.
Please
I would
do.
love Blitz, man, and NBA Jam. Oh man, bring those back.
Yeah, NBA Jam was good.
I actually have to mention the one where the mustachios all met each other, and that was Rainbow Six 3 on the OG Xbox. It was one of the first games I was on live, and
wow.
we definitely, we played the shit out of that. I don't know. I honestly can't tell you how many, if it compares to like the hours I put in to say something like Halo 3 or something, but in my mind, we played that game for a long ass time, but I'm not for sure. It might have been 2 weeks, but it was, it's more than 2 weeks. But Glenn, anything else stick out on you, on your end? Not stick out on you personally. I'm sure you have stuff sticking out everywhere, but
Yeah, I'm old, so it's all not
So,
where it's supposed to be
real
anymore.
quick, I
Yeah.
want to interject one thing. So I believe, am I wrong? Sniper actually was asking for a little bit of advice, wasn't he? Like, how does
was he
get
asking
out of
for
that?
advice?
Yeah, how does he stop playing Call of Duty?
Oh, how
Wait,
does he stop?
Yeah, how do we
Fuck,
get him
dude.
to play some of these other games that he's
Counseling,
bought?
intervention.
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy 16.
Oh, you could name all the games in the world, dude. We've
has them.
tried.
They're
Yeah,
on a
he
shelf
has
next
them.
to all of his dolls,
Just-
action figure.
action
I'm
Like
just saying, like, just jump into it. Like, just take the leap of faith. like just jump into something that has been captivating gamers this year, I think Tears is a good one because, in my opinion, like once you start playing, it kind of just sucks you in. So, but like
don't
Final
think
Fantasy,
that's
I
kind
think
of
is a good one
Snipes'
too.
version though, and
Not really.
I mean,
no?
I don't think he'd be big into Tears because I don't think I can't remember how he felt on Breath of the Wild, but I would say something start off small, something like the Dead Space remake that he was fucking dying to play, or like Resident Evil 4 remake, something that's
4
not
remake.
super long or not a huge dedication.
Put it on the board. 4 remake,
Returnal.
I think, is a great one. Returnal's a fun one.
Returnal, yes.
I like
Play
Returnal.
Returnal.
Returnal's good.
That's a little bit of inside baseball, but
Okay.
yeah, Snipe, play Returnal, you fucking
already.
asshole.
Come on. Listen, I'm going to give you some harsh advice. Delete it.
Uh-oh.
You gotta get the temptation away from you. Take it off of your Xbox.
No, wait a minute.
For a week.
Delete it.
Just for a week.
Cold turkey.
Delete.
See if you play something else.
Cold turkey's tough.
delete the
cold
app?
turkey. Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
So no, I gotta ask you this: delete the app or delete the save file?
Oh, no, not save file. No.
Yeah, don't delete the account. I think you got to keep that because you've worked hard. That's your badge.
Spent all that money.
This is the trophy that he's got. He's got all those cat operators. He's got Nicki Minaj coming up in the background with his.
I don't think deleting the save file does anything. I think
I don't know if it does.
Server anyway. Yeah.
Go ahead. Let us know what happens. But yeah, man, delete the game. Let it sit so that you gotta, I've got to download this now to play it. Come on. Well, I've already got these games ready to go. Let's figure that out.
Gotta move somewhere
and
that
start playing
has
some of that
data
backlog.
caps so you can't re-download it.
Yep.
There you go. All you have to do is uproot your life.
Yeah.
Is what we're saying completely.
Mhm.
Yep.
And then you'll be able to play some other games. What's wrong with that?
All valid advice, guys. I think.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you should. That should be enough, Snipe, for you to get your ass play another game.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
we
Geoff,
saved
I
a
need
man's
you
life
to-
today.
Geoff,
Yeah,
can
we
you
did.
lift up your drink real quick? What is it that you?
Oh yeah. Well, this is not sorry. This is
What
not.
the?
Yeah,
You
this is
son of a
not.
bitch.
I get a pass when we're recording. On the
If our
Canada
sponsors see
Drazed.
this, I don't
No
know
shit.
what's gonna happen. No longer Team
No
Schweppes.
Schweppes. Hey, this comes from Mr. Liquid Death. You were kicked off Schweppes a while ago.
Whoa. Listen, that
Hey,
was
now.
a weekend fling.
We remember. Schweppes remembers. Pepperidge
Pepperidge Farms of
Farm
drink.
is long forgotten. We have one more. This is from Amy Maisie.
Hey, Amy.
Regular. We all know and love her. She says, World of Warcraft, for the
Yep.
first 6 years it was out, I didn't play any other game during that time. I finally broke the addiction when I wanted to play Final Fantasy 13. So I bought a PS3 because playing any games on PC made it too easy to boot up WoW again.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Remember this. Yeah.
just checked the playtime on my main WoW character. Over 8,000 hours. Hold on. Just on my druid, and that's skipping a few X packs. I don't know what I'm guessing that's expansion packs.
Yeah.
And then she said AFK to go cry. And then she posted a picture of some stats on here just really quickly.
Receipts.
Time spent played 338 days, 20
Days.
hours, 54
Days.
minutes.
Oh, you got Amy.
Oh
you got to keep going.
God.
You got to
Time-
keep going.
Hit that
You
year.
got a
Time-
10.
Time played this level 35 days, 13 hours, 44 minutes, 22 seconds. So I'm
Just on
guessing,
one level.
I guess that's one level
Well,
she spent
it's-
that much time
She's probably
playing.
capped. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
time played this class, Dragonflight, 36 days, 3 hours, 22 minutes.
Unreal, dude.
Amy. Okay. I'm not talking. I'm not talking to you guys anymore. I'm going to talk to Amy
Okay.
real quick. Amy.
You and
Hey,
have
Amy.
a
It's
convo.
the internet's Travis Baum. How are you doing? So, you got to keep playing WoW. You are like 33 gameplay days away
From one,
from 1 year of WoW. You gotta do it. It's an L
get
if you
to
don't
50.
do it. You got
How much is 80? How much is 8,000? What was
I
6,000?
don't know. I just want to see her achieve 1 year.
You said
Of
she's at
gameplay
350
time.
days, right?
333.
Oh yeah, it was 300 something days. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this close.
1 year would be insane.
I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting
It's
for you.
right
You got to
there.
do it. Drop everything.
She probably took everything to quit that. Now she plays like a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. So it's kind of like you don't want to give an
She
alcoholic
learned
a
new
drink
career.
after a few
She didn't
years.
quit that new career since then. She went back to school.
Yeah.
Like
That's
she
right.
lived an
Yeah.
entire life after she gave up. Wow. Just
Yeah,
Just their life
keep it out
after
of
a
your
while.
life. Keep it out.
that'd be terrifying.
It's just what, like 15 more days. Come on.
That's true.
It's
When
nothing.
you put it
It's
that
chump
way,
change.
go for it. But thanks everyone for that for writing in for that question of the week.
Mhm.
Thanks Sniper for kicking that off. And
Yeah.
we'll talk, buddy. We'll get you playing something else.
Actually,
We'll
talk
make
to
it happen.
Amy. Apparently, she did it
Yeah.
successfully. So just don't talk to us.
Yeah,
Talk to
That's a
exactly.
good
her.
Yeah.
point.
Hit up
Yeah.
Amy Maisie on the threads and
Yeah.
ask her how she
Amy,
did it.
if you could just post some unsolicited advice to Sniper and just
Yeah.
tell him what he should be doing before he asks, because he's not going to have time to ask. He's busy playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You're going to have to give it to him.
Oh, actually, you know what, Amy? Contact Activision, have them make a skin of you in Call of Duty, and then have
Yeah.
it somehow. Then
Talk to him.
guaranteed, guaranteed, he'll reach out to you. That's it for the question of the week. But we do have one non-question of the week question here. This comes in from Angry Pooch, and he says, or Lucky Pooch. Sorry, not Angry Pooch.
Oh,
Sorry, sorry, Lucky.
He might be
He's gonna
angry
be
after
angry.
this. We'll see.
Angry now.
This one might. I don't know how many people in here read, but he's saying, "I've been looking to get into
I've dabbled.
I'm looking to get into a new series. So any reading recommendations? Preferably nothing too wordy. I'm not smart enough.
I gotta
Hey,
go
well,
with.
You don't read that much.
Yeah, I just read graphic novels and stuff, comics.
Yeah, same.
I don't do books. So the last thing I read was the Last Ronin, I think.
I was just gonna suggest
Ooh,
that.
yeah.
And that was not too bad. If you like Ninja Turtles, yeah, it's a nice dark, gritty reboot. Well, not a reboot,
Mhm.
like an epilogue of sorts.
Yeah, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked at
I-
high school
It's
for a
good.
minute, so all my recommendations and series that I've read were all young adult books that are just trash, and
Mm.
don't read any of them.
Were yayas?
Now so like your Hunger Games ish.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
what was the other one? The
Divergent.
Divergent. Yeah.
Yeah.
What they are better books than movies, like significantly. The
Yeah,
movies are
for sure.
a totally different story, but it's still
Harry
trash.
Potter.
Even as a book, it's trash. Harry Potter's good.
I kind of second Jason. Like if I'm reading, it's usually going to be a graphic novel. I mean, we got season 2 of Invincible coming up. If you're not caught up on that, I would read all of Invincible. Like the entire comic series is done,
So
and
good.
it is a stellar finish. And I find it to be like a great compliment to the animation, because there are differences, but I think it's a good compliment. You in knowing what comes ahead, it's madness. It's so like Invincible's great. It's awesome.
Yep.
The same Robert Kirkman joint, like The Walking Dead, clearly is a no-brainer. It's a great series from start to finish, which is also complete. Southern Bastards is a really, really good one, but it will not make you feel good. But it's a very, very, very good graphic novel. And there are tons, like, you don't have to go out and buy these things. I'm sure there are a ton of websites that you can legally easily read all these. Wink. You just got to look. But yeah, graphic novels.
I do
I don't have any
comicsology.
series. Oh, sorry,
Speaking of like actual legal ways of doing it, I go through Amazon's Comicology, and you sign up with an unlimited plan. It's like $5 or $6 a month, and
That's nothing.
There's a shit ton of books that they have that you can like check out, and just read like the entire series. And it's not quite free, but it's practically free. And
That's
there's
a
lot of
killer.
stuff
That's a
out there.
killer price.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Pay for it. Do the right
Mhm.
thing.
When I do read, it's usually kind of biographical or autobiographical, and it's usually has to be more on the humorous side. I'd highly suggest reading, even if you don't like Jackass, or even Steve-O. His
Steve-O's book is-
Professional Idiot is really good. It's
I
a
heard
really
it's
good
good.
look into his life and his career, and he has a lot of really funny anecdotes, and it's really entertaining. And if you like sports, this is kind of one that not a lot of people have heard of, but it's a book called "Can I Keep My Jersey?" and it's by Paul Shirley. He was kind of like a journeyman NBA player, back when like Shaq was like in his prime and stuff like that. And it's a really, really, really funny book. It is like laugh out loud funny. But the caveat to that one is if you don't like the NBA or like sports, a lot of like you might not find it that interesting. But that's the kind of stuff I get into really with that stuff. And I don't even like reading in video games. Like the thought of pages and pages and pages of unspoken dialogue in Baldur's Gate 3 is like a huge turnoff. So
Yeah. I read the Drizzt's books, a few of them.
Sure.
Those were fun.
Are those the shape ones? The ones like
What?
I'm thinking like I don't know what Drizzt is.
It's the drow from Forgotten Realms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
D&D
Gotcha.
stuff.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, that's it.
It's super cool.
If there's no more other recommendations.
Gentlemen, I think that's a show.
Holy shit.
Woohoo.
And we thank all of
on it.
you for making, thank you all for listening to the show all the way up to the end. If you enjoyed it, if you're listening the audio version, you can go on your podcast listener of choice and you can send us a review. That will be really helpful. And if you're watching us on YouTube, all the links are in the description. You can hit us up on social media, Twitter, Instagram, X, whatever it's called. You can even hit our Patreon and support our little company here. So we'd really appreciate that.
Hey.
But if that is all, gentlemen, anything last minute?
No, do everything that Travis said because it makes him happy, and we want to make
All
sure
right.
he's happy.
Yeah, it just makes me happy. That's what it is. All right. Thank you very much. Play your games, and we'll see you next week.
I'm
Peace.
Jason.
Later.
I'm Geoff.